All right, welcome everyone. We are going to play some Imperator Rome tonight. I put it up on the Twitter to see what everybody voted for me to play. It was a tight neck and neck battle to the end. Time to see what everybody chose. Let's see. I'm stopping it now. Okay, we got 20% of our 50-something votes went towards something in Gaul. 22% for the India region, which I am interested in doing at some point. I was probably going to play a Mahisha or Chola or something like that. It was an early leader. It did not survive. My personal preference was Sparta, but that came in at only 27% because my good friend and colleague Sean Andridge stuffed the vote. He got a whole vote campaign. I think he was driving people in to Twitter. So we're going to be playing Rome. Let me make sure I've got my chat up here. Yeah, so we're going to play as Rome, and we'll play for a few hours and see how we do. We start here in 304 BCE, and we have Publius Sempronius Sophus as our ruler. He is part of the civic faction. We'll talk a little bit about factions when we get into the game. And he's a pretty good ruler. He's got some martial ability. He's a jealous guy, but that's fine because dividing by 2 and reducing by 1 means the difference between 7 and 6 is not really relevant here. So his charisma is 6. He is going to be great at helping us get some early tech going. And he's got some religious zeal. J.R. Rawls asks, how comfortable do I feel with the UI given your EU experience? Very comfortable. I feel like right at home. I mean, there's lots of... We'll dive into some of the things that are different and make it a interesting take on it. But at its fundamental layer, I would say it's easier for an EU transition into this than it is for either an EU transition into Hearts of Iron or Stellaris, and I'm a big fan of both those games. We have a couple of subjects. Well, we have 4 subjects. We have Feudatoria Ferrania, which is right here in yellow. We'll zoom in a little bit so we can see. So we see Frentania there. Another feudatory in Pelignia. Nuceria is a feudatory, and Marcia is a feudatory. They're all pretty loyal to us, and we'll be able to handle this pretty well. I will say, having played a couple of the starts early on, Rome is like you can mess it up, but Rome is a relatively straightforward exercise, particularly in the early game until the barbarians start getting going. So really solidifying our footprint on the Italian peninsula is going to be job one. For over 20 years, I'm just going to read some of this stuff. For over 20 years, the nascent Roman Republic has fought a harsh campaign against the Samnite people to the south. Although victory often seemed far from grasp, the war ended in Rome's favor, resulting in the liberation of the important Greek city of Neapolis. The Samnites, however, having retreated to lick their wounds, are far from defeated. In the north, the Etruscan people eye the expansion of the Republic with apprehension. To the south, myriad Greek city-states plot behind one another's backs, all the while appealing to their benefactors in Greece for aid. On the far-flung island of Sicily, the foreign invasion of the mysterious Carthaginian Empire threatens to upset the precarious balance of power in the region. Will Rome rise victorious or fall to internal strife and barbaric hordes? The fate of the Republic rests in your hands. So early on, I would say the biggest threat to our stability is actually internal. And just controlling the different internal factions. Let's take a look around and see what we're up against. So we have Carthage. Carthage is a serious threat, and they will become an increasingly bigger concern during the game. They own most of the Mediterranean coast of northern Africa, all the way over here into modern-day Morocco, as well as into what is modern-day Tunis. And of course, they have their holding here at the south of the Iberian Peninsula, which will someday be one of your first targets if you're playing Spain in EU4. They have a holding here on, which one's Corsica and which one's Sardinia? I think it's Sardinia. I think it's Sardinia. Yeah, Sardinia. This is Corsica. So they have a couple of things they'll take fairly early, and as the intro mentioned, they are also down here in Sicily. They're widely spread, but they have no immediate threats. So even mighty Egypt is got quite a distance before they can be a threat to Carthage. So Carthage will increasingly become a concern as we play. The Etruscans to the north certainly have some troops. And they are they won't be our first target, but an important difference when it comes to the Etruscans is that they're a federated tribe, which means that they are just going to progress and advance slower than we are. They do have because they're a federated tribe, they do have 3 ideas, but their research just isn't going to be good. We will be able to outstrip them in production, in research, and everything fairly quickly. In fact, by the time we actually turn to the Etruscans, we'll probably see them getting bounced around by places like Umbria or Genoa, and various things. So they probably will fall before we even turn to them. They mentioned the Samnites to the south. Not really a threat. At some point we're going to decide we want to take this because Rome has 2 sort of main holdings on the peninsula that are segmented out by Samnium here. Now, all 3 of these guys are our vassals, I'll say, in the short term. So we have a path through, and it's fine. And eventually, as Rome, what I'm looking to do in the early game is probably mitigate the Etruscans, pick up Sabina and Picenum here, and then probably start moving south until we can, so that we can reduce Carthage's ability to gain a foothold on the mainland. They'll probably take most of Sicily. Let's see. Karnak. The idea of the Etruscan League is not born in the archaeological evidence. History mages for the win. I will have to take your word on that. How many total hours do you think you will have put into this game 365 days from now? You'd have to use, I mean, there's a scientific notation component to that I'm not prepared to dive into yet. But it's very EU4 like. It is clicking all the right buttons so far. So like any good game, we're going to kind of get a sense of where we're at. So bear with me for a few minutes while we do our basic getting started stuff. We start with a stability 1. We start with a positive gold income. We have really decent manpower. Our leader is, as we said, Publius Sempronius Sophus. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provinces. 2 of them are import focused. Latium, we are not going to have do this. Yeah, no. So Latium is our capital province. It's currently set up as a governor policy. I'm going to have to change that over time. I want to do... Oh, interesting thing about the Romans, and this is one of the big things. So Romans, we're not going to have to put any claims in on other countries. We will get that automatically at the end of the first year here. So we will not have to spend a bunch of oratory power to get claims on Sabina or Etruria or Samnium or all that. We will just automatically grab those. So we can spend our oratory power at will, which I'm going to do first on ideas. So the benefit of doing ideas, and as an aristocratic republic, we have 3 ideas, 2 military ideas and 1 oratory idea. Once we have put all of these in place, and they each cost 50 oratory power, we start with 200, we will gain this benefit. So you see here, the bonus is currently inactive. If we match up, so this wants to be a military idea, we could choose any idea here that is visible, but we will match them up because we want that bonus. So we get morale of armies. We're going to grab reinforcement speed and morale recovery, and almost certainly general loyalty. I feel like that's just a ideal starting position for the Romans. So our armies are better, and the likelihood that our generals are going to turn on us is reduced. So all of a sudden, we immediately get this bonus to our power income, as well as happiness and monthly loyalty. Let's see what's next. So nation overview. Oh yeah, I wanted to change Latium's governor policy. What do I want to do here? Okay, so our province has wine, which provides happiness, iron, which allows us to build heavy infantry, which we are going to do, horses, which allows us to build cavalry, which we are going to do. Grain +1 gives us population growth, so our population is growing nicely. I think what I actually probably want to do is, do I want to encourage trade? Civilization change might be nice. So your civilization value increases and provides benefits to everything. As you can see, it makes people happier, it reduces the amount of barbarian growth, it makes the supply limit go up, it makes local population growth, which is probably most important in the short term. And there's no good option for just providing a boost to... Also gets rid of some of our tribesmen. How many tribesmen do we have in this region, or this province? I'm looking at the wrong thing. Populations. Population. I saw it. Click it. There we go. Yeah, some there, some there. So I think in the short term, I'm going to change this to a civilization effort. That costs how much to change that? 45. So we'll just change this one and we'll change the others later. There's a good argument to be made that the better option there is just creating an additional trade route, but I'm fine with that. Let's see. Technology. So we start with a really solid research point base. My kid, I watched Life of Brian a couple of weeks ago. Well, then you're an expert on this time frame then. I think you're the leading voice in chat right now on what happened around this time period. Research progress starts at level 0. It's going up by 1.24% per month. Once this fills up, it's empty now, but a green bar will slowly move across here. All of these are level 0 technologies, and we'll claim some of them. Once this reaches the next level, level 1, level 2, level 3, new technologies will pop in here that we can gain. We spend civic power to get these technologies, and I am inclined to do that right away. I'm going to grab herbalism for the technology speed, and I think... Yeah, see how all these popped up by 5%, so we're now doing 1.27%. And I want property tax, because tax is going to help us build an army. Army's going to help us beat up the Etruscans and the Samnites and the Sabinis. Sabinis? I don't think so. Do I want more money? I think I'm going to put this into research points too. I think there's a benefit in getting research points early on, particularly if we're in a position where we have a decent treasury right away. I'm going to put commander here. Fulvius Curvus has reasonable loyalty. Actually, I'll probably grab this guy, Cornelius Arvina, and he's not currently employed, so he makes a good commander there. I'm actually going to move out a unit to start a new unit. Move you up here and you over here. And I think I would like this to be primarily a heavy infantry, which we can do, and we will put Marcus in charge of that one. Karnak, that was interesting to read. I mean, you're clearly a history major. I take back what I said about Mike. Mike, you're off the starting line for history. Karnak is in. Yeah, that's it. I'm probably going to come back and read that later because that's long and interesting. I'm interested in the Etruscans, so I mean, I don't know much about this time period. Economy's fine, not going to do much there. Diplomacy, I'm not inclined to do a ton of stuff. In fact, I'm going to start letting time go so we can grab those claims that I was talking about. Let's see, we lack a naval commander. That's not a huge priority for me. It will certainly help when we are blockading the Etruscans, but for now it's not going to do much. What have I forgotten? Spent most of my powers. I do want, oh right, diplomacy. I want to change my stance. We're currently in a bellicose stance, which means fabricate claim cost is going to go down, but like I said, we're not going to have to fabricate many claims, and I'm not that worried about our ability to do war score, but 100 oratory power to get there. Trade overview. Do any of our provinces have a trade? Local autonomy. Etruria? No. 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 We need to change that first. Yeah, oratory power is really important early on. You end up spending a lot of it right at the start of the game. We want to look to improve our stability in the near future as well. Does our guy have anything he wants to do? He wants to be appointed dictator. The Senate is not behind that, but they might be more behind that when we go to war. Here we go. The Ascendance of Rome. The end of the recent conflict with our enemies in Etruria and Samnium has left our republic as the strongest power on the Italian peninsula. Our victory has firmly convinced our feudatories in the value of supporting our cause and has shown other small states that the value of being on our side. Roman settlers are now moving on their own accord into the regions to our north and east, establishing new colonies, expecting our protection. Everyone now looks to us, from Samnium to Etruria to Sicily and Carthage, awaiting our next move. So this is where I was saying we gain claims on the following provinces, which are the first ones we will be after. Sabina wants an alliance. I understand why you would want that, Sabina. I think that's a sound move. It is for sure not happening, because we are going to declare war on you. So, the Senate. Let's talk about that for a minute, because since we are an aristocratic republic, that means we have a Senate. That Senate is made up of factions, and currently in command is the civic faction, which just means it's going to be harder to push through a war. It's not impossible, but it doesn't work like a monarchy. If you're a monarchy in this game, you can just go to war kind of whenever you want, and nobody gets to complain about it. In Rome, until you change your government type, you have to kind of worry about what the Senate wants for different things. So when you're doing things like diplomacy, when you're doing things like war declarations, all of those things are going to have an opinion of the Senate. So you'll see here that the Senate is sort of, if I can click on the right thing, the Senate is split on our decision to go to war. 53 seats are behind it. The civic faction, because I'm in charge, it works like modern day politics. If I'm running the show and my faction is just going to back me whether they agree with it or not. The military faction is kind of like, maybe. But the religious and populist factions are strongly against it. So we can still declare war, but we will gain... all of our allies are coming in. Their allies are coming in, so they are allied with Umbria, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Might boost our troops just a little more, too. But we'll gain 5 tyranny. Tyranny has a variety of... At 5, it's not a big deal. But if you continue to take tyrannical stances, that can have an impact on your population and your approval rating and your popularity and on and on and on. But we are going to declare war. We can't declare war until February 10th, apparently. No, we did declare war. Okay. I am going to add some... We have a negative balance now. We're probably fine. Yeah, I think we're fine. We are moving north here into Sabina. This territory, the province of Picenum in Italia. We see it is forest, which means we will get a -1 on our combat rolls. But we're bringing 12,000 men against 4,000 men. And you'll get a little bit of a measure here about how likely you are to win a given battle. Our commander's better. We have a stronger army. We have higher morale. Slightly higher just because of our boost that we put in earlier. But the terrain is to their benefit. Let's see. So, we'll push forward. And combat, battle, generally, yeah, their morale is non-existent. We will wipe them out immediately. We will basically Palpatine them. Wipe them out, all of them. I was referencing, it was a prequel reference. I'm sorry in advance. Publius the Modest. Publius Sempronius Sophus is truly a self-effacing paragon of modesty. Publius or Publius? I'm open to that. Let me know. When recently granted a civic award for compassion, he simply handed it back, claiming the honor belonged with the people. Our consul gains modest. Let's talk about that for a minute. So individuals have both desires, which grant a benefit. So if we can appoint him dictator, and we could potentially get there if we get a couple of more. We need 40, and we have 39 senators who would approve that action. If we did that, we would gain popularity and stability, plus increase our reign by 2 years, 1 year? 1 year, yeah. Morale of armies would go up, and our election term would increase. We'd gain a little more tyranny, but again, I'm not super worried about that. They also have traits, which is very Crusader Kings too. So these traits will develop over time, and they can directly, particularly for the leader of your country, it has direct empowers. So you can see, like here, modest means that our popularity will go up, but since he is also ruler, the power cost, every time we spend one of these powers, it's reduced by 1%, which can be very helpful. Our citizens are outputting more. Prominence is good. Talking about senators. We can increase our tyranny. We can also just make friends with somebody. Who doesn't... I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that. It's fine. Yeah, Karnak, I can kind of see that. You're mentioning that it gives you a Rome Total War vibe. I mean, I think that makes sense. Let's see, we captured an enemy, Paulus Aegitus? He's not very good, though, so I don't really care about him. So, again, like EU4, we do have areas that have a fort, require a siege, and depending on the size of the fort, it sets how many army you need. Oh! Just realized the thing I didn't do. How much army you need to be able to siege that. Any of these areas that don't have a fort, you can siege down with just a single cohort, or if you have a fort at the border, the fort will actually extend and take those areas over. Did not set our action here, so we are going to do a bottleneck. As I was saying, this is primarily going to be an infantry group, and bottleneck provides a huge bonus to the tactic effectiveness of infantry. This is going to be deception, I guess? Yeah, we have way more cavalry than we have heavy infantry. So let's bring you guys... Well, let's split you guys. Send one of you over here. That's no ordinary rabbit. Nice. Let's see. So at this point, I think we can speed up time a bit until we see a army moving here out of Umbria. Can we grab... So we claimed this for... This is a war for... What was our claim? Take Etruria. So that's here. And Umbria does have one city in Etruria, so we want to make sure we take that as well. We want to get as much as we can out of this. There's very little reason not to just take basically everything. In fact, I think we can move north here. I'm just going to bring you over here too. Yeah. We have our vassals here also backing us up. The Hellenistic power of Pyrea is requesting to import wood from Campania. Does that provide a benefit to us? +1 gives us bonus local tax, but probably that 0.55 gold per month is more than that tax, right? So we'll take that. So this is also a fort here, obviously, which we will need to cover. You cannot bust through forts, so I can't actually push through and attack this unit here. I have to take the fort first. The fort exerts a zone of control, so that once I enter a city next to a fort, I have to then proceed to the fort before I can proceed to any... You see here, well, I mean, here I can't actually No, that's not. It's not adjacent to the fort. But I can't push from here into this city. No, I do not want to give you any iron. Nobody gets iron. Nobody gets iron. It's an ironclad rule. I mean, quite literally. So I'm not too worried about this 9K troop. I think we'll just sit here and take that fort. We'll annex all of Sabina. We will annex all of Etruria we can get. And then we will probably turn our eyes to Picentia. Picenum? Picenum. This is Picentia. City of Matrinum. Yeah, this is the city. The province is Picenum. The country is Picentia. Friends across borders. Who's this with? Polignia. Where's Polignia? Polignia? That's our... Is that not our... Yeah, that's one of our feudatories. Our Tribunus Plebeius Gnaeus Flavius. It's just butchering those. Has friends far outside our borders, often trying to use his network to the advantage of our nation. He believes his friendship with the arbitrator of Polignia could be put into use to increase their opinion of us. All we would have to do is send some of our wealth his way, and he would try to improve our relation. That actually might not be the worst idea. We have the money, and that would allow us to integrate them sooner, so I'm actually going to do that. And then I'm actually going to send improve relations to them. And then we can integrate them relatively soon. Okay, so we have civic power. We're about to get our next technology. Our oratory power, we want to increase that. Our guy just ran right into a bad battle there, but it's fine. It's not going to make much of a difference. Masapia is sucking up to us, and we will accept that. We are not... Nobody gets iron. We want a siege. We did not take... Often when you take a siege, you'll take essentially slaves from the population of that. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second. First, let me get my tech. Starting experience, maybe, but I think I'm going to reduce my military tech investments. So this reduces the amount that I will need to clear that next level 0. And you can see our research speed is now up to 110%. All right. Citizens versus freemen versus tribesmen versus slaves. This is the engine of your individual cities. Each city has a population. Each population is presumably different. We won't get too much into... Why are my citizens unhappy? What is your guys' problem? Oh, we need to convert them to Hellenic. And we do have the religious power to do that. So we don't have a full religion. And we also need to assimilate them. Good grief. Ruler corruption. We'll be fine. Okay. That's worth spending. And now they will be happy once we undo the turn. Citizens create research points. They are the engine of your research, plus they provide commerce value. Your income is split between two things. Taxes, which are produced by slaves, and commerce, which is produced by citizens exclusively. Those are really the only two places those things happen. Freemen provide your manpower, and tribesmen they provide a little bit of tax and a little bit of manpower, but largely they represent sort of the tribe, kind of the tribal remains of that exist. A lot of countries don't even have tribesmen at this point, particularly over here in Greece, while Gaul and Iberia are almost entirely made up of tribesmen. You can promote up, so we can increasingly, but nobody promotes into a tribesman. You can promote a slave or a tribesman into a freeman and a freeman into a citizen. Over time, you want to get to a position where your economy is largely driven by citizens, because that's going to provide the best income value, and it also creates research points. So, quick lesson in how that works. All right, we have taken over Sabina. I do still want to take this because I want to grab both of them in our peace deal, but this war is essentially over. even if they take that city that I don't care about over there. All right, let's see. Military power's fine. And we'll just sort of sit back and wait. Mike, really? Are all your references, are you just Life of Brian? Is this just a Life of Brian show? Let's see. Yeah, so for example, here we won the siege of Plestia. We captured slaves to 4 to Rome and 1 to Nepete. But we are at a point now. Hey, thank you, Karnak. Thank you for the bits. Super appreciate it. That's super nice. We can sue for peace, I think. We want to take everything Etruria, and we also want to take Picenium. Sabinian Picenium. We can take both. That's only 3 aggressive expansion. That's not bad at all. And we have solid claims to all this territory, and we will take it anyway. So we are about to grow substantially. So, like I say, if you are new to the kind of grand strategy and you want to pick up this game, like Rome is the place to start. It is, it's not simple by any means, but it is certainly achievable. So our peace deal takes a lot of territory on the Italian peninsula, puts us in a position where we can now stretch over into the Adriatic. Couldn't remember. And can kind of solidify our chunk of the central Italian peninsula. And we will do that. Oh! Regional power. Okay, interesting. No, my next crack, Mike says, no, my next crack was about recruiting a stand-up philosopher named Comicus. That's pretty good. I mean, I laughed, so all good. We have been, as Rome, we have been a local power. Taking this amount of land now turns us into a regional power, which means it's a different weight class. What I mean by that, if we had done things like, for some reason, allied Lucania down here, Messapia, or even Epirus over here, we would lose those alliances because we're no longer the same kind of power. A regional power is different. Like Carthage is a regional power. We weren't, and probably still aren't an equal to Carthage, but we are now kind of operating in the realm of the Carthages and the Macedons and the Thraces of the world. So we're stepping up. The Sabinian elite. After a protracted conquest, we have finally routed the Sabinian armies and laid waste to their lands. During the sacking of their capital, many important prisoners were taken, many of them having previously held important positions in the clan council. They now languish in our dungeons. I'm not inclined to take a bunch of new population in, which is a thing you can do by passing judges on important families. I think pretty happy with our popularity, and honestly, we're closing in on election time. So I think we'll just reduce our aggressive expansion for that. So now as a regional power, we have more trade routes, we have better diplomatic relations, we have a bigger diplomatic range, and we have a government bonus multiplier of 100%, and I'll just be honest, I don't know what that does. Okay, so you can see Rome has grown. We did it. Game over. We did it. We won, everybody. Rome's the best. Let's see. What do we want to do? We have a starving population in... Oh, because it was occupied. It shouldn't be now, right? Yeah. And we are growing again. So that's over. All right. We have... So Etruria was already a province, and that naturally gets wrapped into... or was it? Is that our first place in Etruria? I think it is, yeah, actually. So we have olives, furs, and leather. I'm not going to make the change there. Oh no, up here. Okay, so Etruria swings through here. Picenium and Etruria are basically the same color, and I don't love that. All right, we gotta let time go so we can build up our oratory power. We will probably also go to war again relatively soon. Are there any other recent Roman comedies than Life of Brian? One, is Life with Brian recent? Two, no, but it is the most recent. I mean, technically, okay, no. I can't think of any. I kind of want this map as a jigsaw puzzle. Child is Born, that's good. The Art of the Deal, okay. Members of the mercantile faction have something of a reputation regarding the price of their support. It came, therefore, as no surprise at all when Lucius Postumius Megallus, the leader of the patricians of Rome, approached us with a glint in his eye. So, Lucius, party leader, gains 67. So we give him $67, and the mercantile faction will be more likely to back your diplomatic actions for 2 years. Could let us get our beloved emperor. He could lose loyalty, and commerce income could go down. I don't love that. We could lose a ton of money, and they'd be... No, we're going to lose a little money, and we'll be fine. All right, let's take a second here, because we got some things we need to do. Unused trade routes. We want to do a new trade route in Rome. We don't need wood, right? We have wood. Fish, probably. Fish just gives us population growth, and I want to grow the population. We'll grab that from Venice, and that's fine. Let's see. I wanted to change... Yes, okay. So, he's doing acquisition of wealth for Picenum. I don't think we want to do that because we have a... Show me populations. No, show me culture. Culture. I have to learn where all these are. Culture. So these are all Umbrian pops and Sibelian pops as opposed to Roman pops. So while we are within the culture group, I would prefer that they all become Romans. So we're going to do cultural assimilation because I'm not that worried about the local unrest. Grain to every province by trade to increase population. Very useful. Absolutely, kittens. I could not agree more. As I recall, grain was not an option. It's the first place I look, particularly early in the game. Grain is just so good. I mean, we do have a bonus, but I would happily take more. Don't have anybody else. Oh, we have an unused trade route over here. Ooh, I don't have a lot of good options. We'll take wine. Paolia, just because it gives us a... it gives us some money. Be doing the exports and imports. Totally true, kittens. Absolutely. Grain is... like, can't recommend grain enough. I said grain, I meant gin. Let's see. Local power of them is requesting to import wood from Picenum. I think that's fine. I think Picenum's wood is going to, local tax, but again, I think the benefit, particularly because Picenum is full of people who aren't quite our culture, so we're not getting a huge amount of income from tax. Is that true? Would reduce it by how much? Like 2%. I think this is more. Yeah, it's a net gain. Net gain. Let's see. We're going to boost this, guys. We're really going to turn him into heavy cavalry or heavy cavalry. Heavy infantry. That's the word. No. No, true. No. Oh man, that made me feel bad. Absolutely not. Absolutely not on wine either from our capital. I love that army maintenance cost reduction. I think we are going to grab, because we have a treasury, a reasonable treasury, I think we are going to grab a marketplace here in Rome to help increase our civilization value, and just because I like money. Wealthy patron. The city of Urium has been often overlooked by the wealthy patrons of our capital. Today, however, Aulus Virginius has offered to spend a sizable quantity of his wealth on constructing a grand temple. He has requested our permission before he embarks upon constructions. So he would lose 200. He would gain pious. Urium would gain local unrest reduction. Are we likely to have unrest? No, I think Is he the? Is he likely all this? Is he likely to become? Yeah, he's not even a candidate, so I kind of don't care if he gets grumpy. And I kind of want the slaves, because that is just straight up money. All right, I think we're going to move a bit south. Did this go away? I think we're also going to start building our association here with... Good grief, our oratory power is brutally slow. Wood from Picenum, wood from Picenum. I think that's still fine. So we're going to set up to invade Campania here. Who are they allied with? Anybody? Oh no. Oh no, you guys. They don't have any allies. I want to close the gap here between our areas. Do you feel connected to the Roman world the way you do to that of the early modern world in the EU4? I don't know yet. I haven't played long enough. I don't know. I'm still so focused on game mechanics and understanding all the various math that's going on behind the scenes in this game that I haven't really thought about it in a concrete way. I also think that EU4 has developed that over time in the context of its various DLCs expanding. So they've constantly added these events that spawn, and they've constantly sort of been focused on, sometimes focused on creating a real sense of additional decision trees and additional special benefits and kind of decisions and all kinds of, like, that's been part of what they've done. You think about like the Rule Britannia DLC, which is all about sort of creating this sense of what it really was like, you know, to take on the UK, the various countries within that. Like, I don't know if it's a fair comparison. I don't remember well enough what it was like when EU4 started. But, I mean, you play something like Austria early on, you have that sense of really being part of the HRE. There's a lot more, I would say, let me put it this way. I would say it's sort of that individual diplomacy sense of being connected as part of the world is a little trickier in this. I think one of the things that makes that tricky, okay, I'm spending way more time, like I'm probably spending more time with this question than you intended me to, but it's a really interesting question. So again, whether we feel connected to the world the same way we did in EU4. You look at something like Iberia, right? In EU4, you're in the age of nations, like the really kind of that early state of what would ultimately become sort of nationalism, in the sense of a national identity. Right? You get, by the time you hit 1821 at the end, where there are things like really this sort of national identity that causes the American Revolution and the French Revolution and you know, Prussian kind of this identity of growing together. Like, it really captures that from a game state really well. But like here, like if you look at a EU4 starting map and you have Aragon and you have Castile and you have Portugal, and you have oh, what's that tiny state that's right here? Never can remember. Anyway, you really only have like 4 or 5 countries here, and so there's a bigger sense. If you start in this game as Killuria, do you have that sense of a national identity? If you start up here in Gaul as, you know, Ligonia, do you have that sense of a national identity? I think it's a trickier thing to navigate, but again, that may change as they add DLCs and stuff. Karnak, this is what I've been studying for more than 4 years, so it's neat to see it come to life. Like, seriously, keep playing. I'm not joking. Like, you've been dropping some knowledge in the chat, and I appreciate that. Keep that coming. I love it. We are not giving up army maintenance, though. So we have a tyranny at 3.75. We have aggressive expansion, but I think we're going to war again because these guys are ripe for the picking. We do not have a truce with them. Right, we're going to take on some more tyranny here, but I can live with that. I'm fine with that. So we are going to take, this is Campania. So we'll take that as our war goal, but we're probably going to take the whole damn country. Oh, this gives me an opportunity to show one of my favorite things in this game. You can select your armies and give them the opportunity to just go do smart things. Now, they don't always do smart things, but I don't have to micromanage them. Here's an interesting point, by the way. See these little bars here? Because Nuceria, which is my vassal feudatory state here, has a fort, a level 2 fort, they will automatically claim these 2 areas. I won't actually have to siege these 2 areas down. Same for the Luceria city here. We'll put a claim on that. So we're going to see how our AI does and let them do their work a bit. Or the true, none of the Antions or whatever means anything to me, but the obvious ones like Rome or Egypt. Yeah, one of the countries I was interested in thinking about playing was Sparta, which I think has, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, there is something very fundamentally fun about stepping in and taking something where you have some connection to it. And yeah, I think that, like, it is fun. There is enough of the flavor of Rome in here that I suspect I will be fine. Like, I will find that sort of sense of kind of an identity over time. So you can see my armies are just cruising along here, completely ignoring enemies sieging our lands down, but that's not going to be a problem because we got a ton of people here. We have a new invention. We are about 60% of the way to our next research level, so I think I do want to grab probably Omen Power. I want Commerce Income. I do want that. That'll be way more beneficial in the long run. No, I would say Kamikaze asked, do you end up microing the armies very often? You certainly can. I haven't found it as necessary, and the fact that they added this thing that simply allows you to... but this is a case where I am going to micro the army. I'm going to get attachment. I'm going to head back this way. Somebody attach onto me. So it's you kind of have an option. You have, I'll put it this way, you have more of an option whether you micro the armies than you do in other Paradox Grand Strategy games. And in fact, I don't find I do as much here. And we're going to make sure we're at full manpower, and then we're going to go get these guys. Come on. No, where are you going? Stop it. Come on. The AI needs some work. The combat AI in particular. This is a good opportunity to find something out here. Oh no, this is farmland, so we won't actually... If I attack into a siege, an existing siege, will I be the aggressor or defender since it's my land? Where can I tell who's the attacker and defender? I don't know. We have better everything. We're gonna wreck their whole face. I don't know if we're the attacker or defender. We're a river crossing, but that still doesn't tell us, I don't think. Okay, good. And we'll put you back on independent operations. We need to take this. No, up here's the fort. This is very close to done already. We have a good... This is the thing I got to be careful of. That is a... And we want to be careful with our tyranny. That said, can we be a dictator? Could. 2 tyranny, but we get 1 stability and popularity. So now we're up to 15 tyranny. I am a tyrannical ruler. We might have to let that tick down a bit before we go to war again. But, yeah. Karnak, the languages of the Latin Peninsula, are fascinating, as are the people in the north, like the Lepontic and Venetian. While the rest of the province assimilated to Latin, the Lepontics rebelled by holding on to their language for several hundred years, and the Radic language may be related to Etruscan, but we don't have enough sources. Awesome. Gorothia. Julius Caesar incoming? Not saying no. We'll see. That does bring up a really interesting thing to point out, which is that over time, you will find that the more popular a general is, and the more prominent a general is, over time, the cohorts, the actual army elements, will gain loyalty to the general instead of to the nation. So, for example, if you look here, if I wanted to create a new unit, I cannot move these army units into a new unit. They would refuse now. They simply are like, no, we aren't, I mean, we're Romans, but, you know, our loyalty is to our general. Whereas armies that aren't, don't. And you can kind of see that chance of cohort loyalty here. He's not very charismatic, so that helps, but they ultimately have a 0.3% chance per month to switch their loyalty from the nation to the general. And as that general gains more units that are exclusively loyal to him, his loyalty will start to drop. So, for example, here, his loyalty is continuing to go up for a variety of reasons right now. But because I've been tyrannical, because he has loyal cohorts, that may shift over time, which is a super cool mechanic that I absolutely adore about this game. I think that would be maybe one of my favorite new features. We will grab... Now we will grab Omen Power. How long until we got to get a Omen again? It's very soon. So our stability is 2, which means our national tax is better, our research points are better, our popularity gain is better, subject states like us more. And in fact, I want to start. We have won all the sieges. Improving your opinion. Nope. No iron. Nobody gets iron. Iron is all mine. And you can see here that the Senate's like, hell yeah, sue for peace. Nobody's got a problem with that. Because we've totally won, for one thing. But it's interesting if you are approaching a situation where you feel like you need to get out of a conflict, but potentially your Senate does not. It creates some interesting questions. This would increase our aggressive expansion by a perfectly fine amount. And there we go. Samnite Elite. I am not putting more, because we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scorned families. We don't need additional scorned families. We need to reduce that aggressive expansion a bit. So we have grown relatively rapidly. We have not particularly worrying aggressive expansion. A little bit more trouble and tyranny. But I think we can manage that in the short term. We'll probably wait a little bit here before we go back to war. Returning power. With the safety of Rome assured, the Senate have formally requested that consul return to dictatorial powers. Formally requested that consul return the dictatorial powers that he was granted. Much to their concern, and backed by the strong power base of his faction, he has insisted on retaining authority of dictatorship until Rome is truly safe once again. Oh my. We can do assassinations now. We can return dictatorship. May have opened Pandora's box there a little more than I wanted to. Is there a great power list like EU4? Absolutely. It's right here. We are the 3rd greatest power by score in out there. That's based on population happiness and various things. Phrygia is holding very nicely. Phrygia often does a, if you remember the early days of EU4, the Mingsplosion, Phrygia is pretty good at that. Moria over here in the subcontinent is also quite significant. Egypt's up there, Carthage is up there, Macedon is up there. So yeah, but Rome, I mean, we're 3rd. Now, like I said at the very start, I think the thing we have to watch out most for is simply not exploding internally by doing things like executing huge dictatorial authority or something like that, something crazy like that. Oh, an hour in, we're getting all stabby. Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. Okay, hang on. We would gain army maintenance cost reduction by importing wine from Campania. I've already forgotten where Campania is. It's down here. Oh, right. It's our new province. So we have a surplus of wine, which provides happiness. I'm not that worried about happiness right now, so we will accept that. Reduces our maintenance costs, and we can do that further again by selling even more wine, which we will do. Not to mention that it creates a bunch of money. Rome is all full up on buildings. Fundy, Tyra. Let's get some growth here in Carcioli. That would increase the amount of. Ultimately, that could potentially increase the amount of cavalry or horses we have available. So I'm going to build a granary here, and then Norba as well. I'm going to focus on growth a little bit. And we'll look to get rid of some tribesmen in the near-ish future. We're going to take these guys off of their objective, and we're actually going to move them up here to the north and start turning our eyes to the Etruscans. What happens when we internally explode? I don't know yet. Civil war, primarily. So one of the big things that it seems like tyranny does is it lowers the loyalty of your government officials and your admirals and your generals, and they will increasingly look to overthrow you. So ultimately, we might see in some places, we'll keep an eye out for it because I've seen it several times, where a country erupts into civil war and they kind of split, and it becomes the country plus like a a similar named country that's just in like revolt. We'll keep an eye out for it, but essentially our country would sort of break in half, and we would be thrust into a war that we would have to win to recover all of our country. Locri is requesting to import wine from Campania. How many do we have in Campania? Man, that place was in Campania, right? The place was wined up. Locri. I don't want you to be. I want to change that policy. What are our policies again? Yeah, we have way too many things that are focused on the wrong things. This is our. Tournament's not a borderland, but that's not my focus right now. Etruria, I want to change your policy. Nope, you're doing cultural assimilation. That's right. Yeah, this is what I don't want. I want... We only have 3 cities here. It's probably not worth it to spend that money here. I'd rather spend it down here in... Kanya? I'd rather do cultural assimilation there because their culture, right? They are mainly civilian. Right culture group, but not Roman. I think, the more we have Roman, the better position we are to have happy populations. All right, we should... I want to be real cautious about giving any one general too large an army. I'm way more inclined. It's interesting. Okay, so this is another interesting little mechanic switch that I think is very cool versus a mentality set that came out of EU4. Olives from Lucania. Do we have more olives? Oh, Lucania. That's Latium. Local slave happiness. We could still gain local slave happiness plus a bunch of money. And Apulia has 1 wine. I think we can sell some of that. We're going to start making some money. We are up to 7.23 gold per month, which is very good. Which is all the reason. We have good manpower, a decent treasury growing rapidly. So we toppling a tyrant is going to be good. The practically autocratic behavior, I see your dagger, of Consul Publius has the entire Senate in upheaval. Seditious talk is rife, but one voice stands out in the hushed conversations behind his back. Publius? Cornelius Barbatus. There's something about Publius that just sounds gross every time I say it. An upstanding member of government with renowned Republican ideals has declared that it is time to act. This amounts to treason, and we would be well within our rights to clap him in irons, but the very republic itself is at stake. No. I actually don't want... I don't want empire yet. I don't want dictatorship yet. But there is something gross about being allowed to plot against our ruler. I tell you what. I'm out of my drink. I'm going to refresh this fine drink and give this some thought. So sit tight. Give me about 2 or 3 minutes. If you have, Chad, if you have one of these you'd prefer to see, would you prefer? I don't want to lose that stability. Are we a tyrant or not? Anyway. I will be back in a few minutes. Stick around. We've got lots more Imperator coming right up. So hang out. I'm back in a few. All right. Thanks for sticking with me. Get that webcam up and going again. There we go. Yeah, so who is this guy? Good question. Head of the Corneli family. Just some dude. He's... Oh, he's the Pontifex Maximus, which means he's our main religion guy, right? Yep, he's right here. Did we decide? I'm going to let him plot. I think I'm going to let him plot. I don't want to lose the stability. I don't really actually genuinely care if I lose this ruler. Our next actual candidate is better than we are in almost every conceivable way. He's part of the military faction, which means it'll just be easier to declare wars. He's got a higher... He's just great. So, worst case scenario, Consul Sophus dies. I don't know if that's actually the worst case scenario. We're going to let him plot. We got... Ancana gave us some money. Thanks. Thanks, Ancana. Let's see what I want to do. How are we doing on technology? 47. Plenty of money coming in. Actually, growth. I said I wanted to focus on growth. I do want to focus on growth. I also want to have some oratory power. Yeah, Gorothia, I think that's absolutely true. It's hard to know the exact outcome from this event window, and that's just how they play it sometimes, which honestly makes it more fun. Like, that's the same sort of event, like, you know, if you were in that position, you don't know the outcome. I'm actually fine with that. I would like to... We're converting tribesmen, right? Have we gotten... How many tribesmen do we still have? One. Petition. The wealthier residents of Salernum have sent a formal petition on behalf of the entire province, complaining about the harsh ways of our governor, Marcus Fulvius Petinus. It seems that his taxation policy is causing quite a furor amongst landowners who are having to work their slaves to the bone in order to meet tax quotas. It is certainly unusual for our subjects to complain in such a manner. Perhaps we ought to consider their arguments carefully. Okay, let's talk about governors for a second. So, this took me a while to figure out. Governors are regional. We've talked about these individual elements here are specific cities. Within that are the provinces. But then there is this additional layer called the regions. So Italia, which makes up, it looks like the provinces of Picenum, Etruria, Latium, Aeternum, is all ruled by whoever the consul is. That's our capital region. He gets it automatically. But we've taken on this other element down here, Magna Graecia, which is ruled by the Marcus Fulvius Petinus, and he is head. I'm trying to see if he has any elements that would give us a clue into why he wants to have a son. He's weak-willed. So we can either have every own city in the province of Lucania, down here. We don't have a lot right now, but we will. Gets local unrest. Marcus gains corruption, but he gains loyalty. He has 74 loyalty right now. Is his loyalty going up or down? It's going down. We could lose loyalty and continue to shape that loyalty up. I'm not that worried. 2 years of local unrest is not a big deal. Corruption's probably not ideal, but I do want that loyalty from a governor. I think we're going to let him do his thing. So we'll continue on. I do want to now recruit some new cohorts. So we have our group here that is primarily, here that is primarily infantry. This tends to be a little bit more mixed with a slight emphasis on cavalry. I think I want a more pure cavalry sort of group. It's going to be a little expensive, but I think we'll be fine. Okay, it's worth the money. We can speed up time a little bit here. We can unpause also. I think we're lining up here to do our invasion of Etruria. As you can see, they're already being invaded from the north, which means they're going to be hopefully weak. I think we'll go ahead and add a Trarine here too, or two. just so we can do some, I forget what they call it, barrage? No, that's not it. Let's see, Lacania livestock. No, you can't have livestock from Lacania. Wait, what? Oh, Lacania. I think I still want livestock down here. Yeah, I don't want to give that up. That gives me population growth. I don't want to trade promotion costs for population growth. No, thank you. Or, let's see, livestock? No. Apulia? You have a surplus. It only adds 0.02 per surplus. So actually, in this case, I am fine with it. And that makes the other one go away. So your base, this is an important thing to kind of keep in mind. Your first amount of a given resource adds a certain amount. Any additional adds to that amount, but at a lower rate. So our first grain here gave us a local population growth of 0.1%. Every surplus after that gives us an additional 0.05%. So yeah, sometimes selling off that surplus isn't so bad. Karnak, you seem sad. What's wrong? Talk to me, Karnak. What's going on with you? Did I do something to make you sad? I didn't mean to. Seizure of power. Okay, this is a whole thing. Publius Sempronius Sophus, our renowned consul, you see how I shifted to Publius, has safeguarded our nation through some of our darkest times. Nonetheless, his recent refusal to return the eagerly granted dictatorial powers caused a great deal of concern amongst the Senate. Now it seems that his aspirations of power have reached a new level. With the support of his faction, he has demanded that the Senate ratify a law proclaiming him dictator in perpetuity. This is not why I gave you dictatorial powers, Mr. Sophus. This is not what I had in mind. Yeah, but the Republic, he would be corrupt. We would institute it and give him 45 years in charge. Or 3 stability. No. We have a dictator. You guys, good news. I guess. I hope you like hearing me say Publius, because we're going to be saying it for 45 years. God. Okay. Whoops. Well, live and learn. Live and learn. You know what? We're putting him in charge of an army in the hopes that he might die. Well, let's give him a good army, I guess, because my guess is at some point he will have to fight a civil war. Awesome. Invention. I'm going to save this. I don't think there are any of these. If I took anything, it would be army morale recovery. I think I'm going to wait till the next level because we're close. Plot discovered. All right, nice try, Barbatus. Publius Cornelius Barbatus was in the middle of deep discussion with various sympathetic senators today when a group of armed soldiers burst into his villa, arresting them all. It seems that any hope of ousting our tyrant is fast disappearing. We just straight up murdered the dude. Need a new pontifex. Arnis. You're tapped. No, Etruscans, you can't have anything. Wait on that. You're going to attack my good Etruscan boys. Soon you'll force them to assimilate and abandon their language. Millennia later, we'll still be trying to piece the language together. I am clearly not the good guy here, Karnak. I think we've established that this was never going to go well for any of us. Bigger army, please. Let's army it up. Them. Yeah, I am indeed about to do that. Tyranny's up. We're going to explore this whole thing. All right. Let's get serious for a second here. We have some oratory power we could spend on. Do we still have tribespeople? Tribesmen. I think we're just about done with that. As many of the more veteran members of our blessed political institution know, youth is a wonderful state of joy, experience, and most importantly, gullibility. Valeria Prima has recently emerged, fresh-faced onto the political scene, espousing the rhetoric of the mercantile faction. Like vultures to a corpse, those desperate to sway Valeria Prima to their cause have descended, each using their cunning to try and recruit her. Perhaps it behooves our consul to step in and show Valeria Prima the true path. Yeah, I don't see the value. How valuable is she? She has 11 oratory or 11 charisma. Is she in the government? Currently with the mercantile faction. Civic faction has 28. Don't necessarily want the military faction to have more. But I don't know that I want to spend my oratory power. I want to do other stuff with that. No. Go to the military. I don't care. We are going to change our policy here because we have transitioned most of the, if not all the tribesmen. We really haven't increased civilization value very much. I think we're going to encourage trade to get the additional import. Which we will use, I guess, to get leather. That's not what I had in mind. We can revisit that later. I do think we want to start promoting some freemen. We have a decent manpower, and I wouldn't mind. I think we'll promote. Ooh, that cranks the ruler corruption. Oh my god. What is his corruption at? 10. I'm not going to be able to do that at all, am I? Does that happen everywhere? 2.5% ruler corruption, even down here? Yeah. Dictators clearly get a negative. Hey! Ice Nugget. Isis Nugget, 200 bits. Thank you very much. That's super cool. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Thank you for contributing. That's very kind of you. We are going to, yeah, so we changed his policy that increases our commerce level. We would like to get more freemen into citizen roles, but I want to be, I mean, not like we're not already pretty damn corrupt, but I do still want to be cautious with that. Polignia, how much? We still have another 50 we can do there. Let's go ahead and then start bringing these guys in. Improve opinion. Marcus Valerius Corvus was the praetor, and he died. So we need a new praetor. I guess this guy's fine. Got some more money. I'm not providing anybody anything. And we will move you here. Okay, do you have any allies? You have some places you're guaranteeing. You're in war. You don't have any allies. Oh, Etruscans. I'm so sorry. We are truly an empire. But the Senate's on board. The Senate's like, hell yeah. Get those Etruscans. We hate those dudes. We're going to take Etruria. We're going to call in all of our vassals. And we are going to do that. Since the Senate approves, we are not at all worried about... Ooh, look at you here. Let's swing you down here. Let's put you on independent operations. And we will set you to deception. What have we seen? We haven't seen so much envelopment as we have seen other things. Envelopment's actually interesting. Probably bottleneck still. And our evil consul has a son. That's lovely. Nobody gets access. So we are now going to put you on independent operations. And you as well. Let's see if our AIs does smart things or dumb things. We are going to bring our navy out to blockade, was the word I was looking for earlier. Okay, hang on. 11,000. Let's see. It thinks we'll win this pretty easily. They have a slightly stronger army. Do cavalry have a benefit against heavy infantry? No, they take problem. We're not taking that fight. We could probably win it just on morale here. And we're not taking that fight right now. I think we would win it. I think it would be an absolutely brutal situation. Oh, you know what? They were thinking. Why are they sieging it down? Oh, because it's... Got it. Got it. I think we might kill those 110 guys. A bunch of pops died. We will take this fight. 20th. They have very low morale. We're going to bring 12,000 guys in. And that should do that. That'll do them in. Good. All right. Partly here we need to wait for their war. They had war. Look at... Oh, the Etruscans. Oh, the Etruscans. I'm very sorry. Do we have fish already? We do, so I don't want to take fish. Woad? No. Leather. The recruit speed is nice, and we don't have a lot of trade options here, so yeah. This war is all but over already. Unfortunately, their capital is already claimed by Iguania, so we can't claim that. Nobody gets access. Nobody gets iron, nobody gets access. Those are the rules. I have been very clear on the rules. I'm going to turn on political map mode. I think it's just easier to see, particularly when you're at war and there's a lot going on. Iguania. Who is Iguania? Oh, shipwrecked. One of Rome's most renowned merchant traders, Aulus Verginius, has appeared before our Senate in tears. He tells of a huge shipment of exotic fruits which sank beneath the roiling waves on a journey from Neapolis to Balo. He beseeches us to cover at least some of the losses in order to preserve the reputation of Roman trade throughout the world. We could lose some, he'd gain loyalty, and is he losing loyalty? He isn't. He would lose some money. You have 2,000. 122 is not going to hurt you. We could cover it, but Campania would gain import routes until the end of the game. That's what I want. Also, our oratory advanced. Also, our military advanced. Okay, Campania now has a trade route, which... Two trade routes. I guess base metals? Cohort speed or wine? Probably wine right now. We already have iron. We don't need more iron. We might take it just to have the trade route. Tribesmen. Do we have tribesmen here? We don't seem to. And we only have the one city in Campania, correct? Yeah. So I think we will take... We'll take iron. Fine. The iron we take is some iron somebody else can't have. I snug it. Wondering, how would you rate this game for educational purposes against Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for example? I really enjoy the tour thing in AC Origins. I've been noticing that the AC games have done more recently, for example, with the historical waypoints, but I haven't really played the Civ game, which this one looks like. This is actually something we're going to be talking about on the podcast this week. So if you listen to the Gamers with Jobs conference call, check us out next Wednesday, because this is a key part of our topic, which is really the idea of using games as points of inspiration, what we're calling kind of historical tourism, which I think the Assassin's Creed games are exceptional at. I don't know, right? Because the Assassin's Creed games are so steeped in a contrived narrative, something that the creators of the game are making to tell the story that they want to tell, which is entirely of their own making in the context of this sort of historical realm, which is very cool. I have no problem with that. Love it. Absolutely love it. And it gives you a sort of slice of life, a flavor of some perception of what that world is. Origins is a great example. Odyssey is a great example. Right? It puts you in the moment of those worlds and kind of gives you something to become inspired by, to learn more about. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's beautiful. That's going to be kind of one of the things I talk about. I think this takes a very different tack. I think EU4, I think to an extent Hearts of Iron, and even Victoria. They have a little bit more of the crunchiness in there, but at the same time they pull back on that component of the developer inserting their own narrative, their own sort of independent worldview into that, which Assassin's Creed does sort of, without objection. I mean, Assassin's Creed's ultimately based in the present or the future. It just takes place and tells the story of the present or the future and the past. It's a cool idea. I think they take very different routes to the same idea. So yeah, I don't know. Karnak, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Hopefully that gives some kind of answer. I'm not sure if it's a very satisfying one, but I think it's a good question. Let's see. All right, we'll go beat up these guys. Oh, okay. That war ended, which means we should send at least one group. And they're already on their way. Very good. You guys are doing a good job. I'm very proud of you. I'm disappointed. I'm deeply disappointed in that choice you just made. Nobody gets access. Military tradition. Yes. So we can grab our first military tradition. Our military power is greater than the cost of the tradition because we upgraded our technology. And I think we are definitely going to grab heavy infantry discipline plus 10%. We get the next one at 1012. Probably not true. We will upgrade our technology again before then. Okay, so we reach level advance 1 for martial advances and level advance 1 for oratory advances, which means we have 3 new options for martial and oratory. We have 178 civic power. I think I'm going to take siege ability. Oh, I love both of these. I want both of these. I can get both of them soon. Monthly tyranny reduction might not be bad, though. Wow, I hate to think this is the most important thing on the list, but it might be the most important thing on the list. It's only 0.01. That would take us to 0.07. Damn, it is, isn't it? Oof. Yeah, because we're already ahead of this war. Taking that. Yeah, Karnak, love to get an email from you. Love to hear your thoughts on that topic. I think it's a really interesting topic. Could you not stand there and gain a massive amount of attrition, please? The AI is... You do some things well and do some other things less well. Okay, you know what? That's it. Now I am micromanaging. You go here. You go track this dude down. Or actually recover that area there. So these are all going fine. We'll grab these. Let's go ahead and grab siege ability now. Okay. Let's move north to make sure they don't come swinging back down this way. This war essentially is very close to over. We do not need to help him out. Yeah, Mike, I mean, it took a while to get the AI straight with EU4 too, and arguably any of them. So it will be a ongoing progress, I am sure. Frintania is requesting to import cloth from Latium. Where's Latium? Here it is. Oh, our home node. Ooh, cloth provides us local tax. Lose the following bonus. Okay, hang on. Cloth provides local tax plus 10% total. And oratory tech investments. That would remove our oratory tech investments and actually remove some of our tax too. No, you may not have cloth. I like having cloth. Cloth does things I like. We just need to take this one here. Nice try. I think we can move you back now. Nope, you're no longer on your own recognizance. And we grab that. So this is a done deal. 16.75 tyranny, 2.62 aggressive expansion. Way less concerned about aggressive expansion than I was. Legis Actionis. The recent work of plebeian jurist Gnaeus Flavius, his Legis Actionis, or actions in law, is the first written account of the legal procedures of Rome. The importance of this work propelled him to the office of tribune of the plebs and garnered him a wide populace support. Tribune of the plebes. The full extent and interpretation of our laws has until now been a verbal tradition of our judiciary, and Flavius's attempts to codify parts of our legal procedures for a wider audience has not been wholly appreciated. Some patricians argue a public airing of our sacred laws by a plebeian, no less, threatens their traditional prerogative over government positions in the laws of Rome, while the populists welcome greater rights and participation. Gnaeus is this guy. He is the Tribunius Flavus, which provides us freeman happiness. Makes sense. We could promote that faction. Factions don't really matter that much right now. We are dictator essentially for life. Do we have the cool, like, gold, what do you call that, breastplate before? National freedom will go, happiness would go up, enact law cost goes down, or tyranny. I'm not taking more tyranny. I am done with tyranny. I mean, I'm clearly not done with tyranny. We need to spend some money, too. Our religious power also is... Let's grab that third, 379. We need 163. Let's grab our last stability. Everything goes up. Oh, bad news, the Etruscans. I'm really feeling bad about this. Betruria is of course now ours. Tuscany? Tuscia? Ooh, our aggressive expansion would go up a bunch. Ooh, I love it though. Get on to Corsica? Right, that's Corsica. I never remember now. Yeah, Sardinia, Corsica. Man. We're evil Rome. Let's not forget we're evil Rome. I think that's important. And the Etruscans are sort of still around. Like, look at them. They could rebuild from there. Not wiping them out. We're mostly wiping them out. Hey, Ingo, super cute. Thank you, man. Thank you for leaving a follow. Really appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the stream, man. Cool. All right. We have a Rome now. Now we have a Rome to reckon with. A Rome in a notable amount of turmoil, though. Bruscia, yeah, you know what? Fine. Gotta let some through every now and again. Let's go ahead and bring you back. Oh, look at this! Publius returns powers. Sempronius Sophus has formally returned dictatorial powers to the Senate upon the conclusion of hostilities. The Republic is once again at peace. Huh. That's completely unexpected. So how long till the next election? I don't know where I would find that. Oh, enough. I'm not giving you all access. Give one of them access, and all of a sudden they all want access. Court ruler, civic faction. The cult to Fortuna. Lately, we have seen growing numbers of people flying Fortuna, seeking the fortune of the gods. A priest and a small group of followers have arrived in Narnia. I dare you not to smile at that. Looking for a new home for the cult. They promise good fortune and that our people will be well taken care of if they are given some sizable funds and help in getting started. Populist faction Decius Valerius wants us to lose a bunch of stuff for one freeman in Narnia. We can afford the popularity. Thank you, no. We're all full up on Narnia right now. All right. Let's see. City-state of Hurt. Okay, let's see what provinces we've got now. So we have Tuscia, Etruria, and we're not on Corsica after all, are we? No, the Etruscans are still over there. So let's take a look at our new provinces. They have a surplus of base metals, a surplus of marble, they have grain, and they have livestock, so they have some growth opportunity here. They are all part of the region. Yeah, they're all part of that Italia region, which means that our consul is their governor as well, which is good. He has a policy of local tax plus 10%. I don't think we're making enough tax income to make that valuable. And again, I think we're in the same population. Show me population. No, culture. Right, they're all Etruscans. They're all Etruscans. I mean, we do need to eradicate their culture. Right? Yeah, I think that's right. I am very sorry, Karnak. I want to tell you that, Karnak, I'm really sorry about everything that's happening right now. We are going to wipe out their culture, though. Let's see. This is the marble. Monthly tyranny minus 0.01. We would gain that bonus. I do want that. Heraclilia. Where's Heraclilia? Oh, no. From Tuscia, yeah. So they want to bring in marble. Province loyalty is nice, but I really want to shed off that tyranny. Cool. We can afford another invention here, so I think we will grab our heavy infantry discipline. We are close to getting our final religious advance as well. We grabbed our oratory advances, which are not particularly great. Civic tech investments go. Oh, civic advances is good. Research points. That's the next one. Absolutely research points. Oh, I missed that. Metals. We should grow our army. And indeed we will. This is our heavy cavalry army. And this is sort of our blended army, and I think we'll follow that. And our omen power is now increased. We lost Lucius Papyrus Corsor. He's a researcher. So we lost our martial dude. 7. Check the government. Do we have any? I don't want to lose that discipline for sure, and I don't want to lose the tax. It's fine. We will take. We're not going to have as good a researcher as we did. I'm going to take this guy. His popularity and prominence are relatively low, even though his loyalty is not ideal. Guania is requesting to import olives from Etruria. That provides a slave happiness. Might be important for them for now. And they want to get base metals from Tuscia, which will give us light infantry bonus, but we would lose cohort recruiting speed. That one we could definitely take. That one I'm not going to take right now. Yeah. Depending on the country you live in, it's even old for today. So somebody points out 69 is relatively old for this time period, and that is correct. Yeah. Right, I said we're not doing olives. And I agree. Okay. Mastia calls for aid against Carthage. So now our real opponent begins to rear their presence. We have received an urgent envoy from the small state of Mastia. Mandonio Corbidus is requesting our immediate assistance against Carthage, who he claims have treacherously invaded his country. Their envoy has spent many hours in supplication before the Senate and passionately argued that if we let the cities of Mastia fall, it will only be a matter of time before Carthage tries to invade and destroy Rome. Given our conflicting interest with Carthage in the Mediterranean and their continued policy of expansion, this could be an opportunity to escalate the situation in our favor. How should we respond? We could lose 100 power. We could gain a 10,000 manpower, which I am highly motivated to do, given that we just really plugged a bunch of dudes into army. Military faction influence, and we will gain claims on Carthage. Or we could lose popularity. We will increase tax, commerce, and citizen happiness. I like that manpower, though, I think. I think I like the manpower. I'm not worried about the military power. We'll only get 1 year. See, this, okay, this kind of stinks, actually. We'll get the decreased cost of heavy cavalry, heavy infantry, and trireme. We just bought a lot of guys. No. Tell me about Mastia. Wait, you're in Iberian power? I so don't care. Mastia? Please. That could not be better said. No, we're going to take the income. We do... Okay. Friends across borders. This is now with Pelignia, which we have 161, and we're trying to get to a place where we can integrate them. So this will help give them 20 opinion. I actually do want this. And that will put us very close. Because we have gold to spare. In fact, we are now going to we'll figure that out in a second. Send them a gift. Pelignia, 181. I meant to send you a gift. Who did I just send a gift to? And now we do want to integrate them once we have time. Sway, okay, says Carthage must be destroyed. I agree. I don't disagree, Ice Nuggets. But I do like money too. Start integration. I wonder if there would be any interest in this Stellaris-flavored version of the Dudes on a Map Grand strategy. There would be no historical geographical hook, so would the discovery of the alien political environment and sci-fi themed upgrades be enough to make the game interesting? I mean, it's the Alpha Centauri question, right? It's been very, very difficult to ever get to a point of creating a game that was as successful with something like that as Alpha Centauri was, because right, they were extremely cautious about creating a planet and an environment and a pathway that was, one, unique at the time, right? Nobody had ever done anything like that before, which I think we kind of found out when the Civ team for Axis did their recent one, Beyond Earth. Is that right? Is that what that game was called? I don't even know. That's how not interested I was in the second time around. You'd really have to have some great mechanics. I think it can be done. I think it is intensely difficult. I almost think it'd be easier in like an existing franchise, like if you were doing that in like a Star Wars themed thing where you were battling over Coruscant or something. I'm not saying do Star Wars. I'm just saying I think you have to have some connection, some context for those kind of games. If you're just making it up on the fly from, you know, whole cloth without providing the player any sort of sense of why they should care about this planet that they're just sort of strategically tinkering around on, it gets a lot trickier. So we are now integrating polygamy. That's my take on it. I don't know. I'm sure if you got the right people to do it, no, we're not doing that. I'm sure it'd be great. I would play it no matter what, either way. We don't have anything but olives we can import. Well, I guess we'll do it just for the money, but fine. We're even not importing it from ourselves. We are just shedding people here. Supply limit up here. You know what? Actually, no. What's our next target? I think it's probably Pisceum here. They have a weak ally. I think it's this. So I think we actually move up here. Why can't I move through here? Maybe here? Does everybody have bottleneck, and deception? Good. Good question. Are you in diplomatic contact with everyone right away or just nearby regional factions? You have a diplomatic range in this game as you become a larger and larger power, or as you increase in technology, you get additional range of diplomacy. So if we scan out, we can actually see that as opposed to EU4 that has a degree of fog of war. I was thirsty. We see the entire world in this game sort of from the start, but do we show diplomatic range here at all? That would be cool. Diplomacy. So this is everything that, yeah, okay, so you can see here, it looks like Phrygia is at a distance of 1,724. Our diplomatic range is 1,200. So we can only have diplomatic contact as a now larger regional power. This is farther than it was at the start when we were only a local power. We can do diplomacy within this area. Over time, as we expand and as we become larger, we will presumably get an increased diplomatic range. Great question. Yeah, it is a cool system. No, Slab Mason, this game is not out already. This is a preview build thanks to our friends at Paradox. They gave us a opportunity to kind of showcase this upcoming game. It comes out next Thursday. So yeah. Yeah, it's a very large region. I'm excited. This is one of the things I was saying, that one of the places I was considering playing. I haven't even come over here into India yet, but I'd love to do like a Mahisha or an Antra. This one seems interesting. I think these are interesting. Moria would be fun, but it's so large that I don't know. I like kind of mid-range stuff early on. Nobody gets access. Invention. Yes, what did we say? We wanted research points. Absolutely. No question. Ready for our next Omen power. We're making 8-9 gold a month. Manpower. We probably need to focus on manpower. In fact, brings up a good point. We should probably build a couple of training camps. Manpower plus 10%. So, do we have a manpower map mode? Doesn't look like it. Does it show us in our provinces? No. All right. I think we're going to build some training camps. I think we're going to focus in our main area here. This is where we're most likely to have the highest population levels, which will provide us better value. So 87,925 right now. We'll see where we are after we build those. Did I play some EU4 at all? I did. I did. EU4 is probably my favorite game of all time. So yeah, absolutely. Everything I'm kind of looking at in the context of this game is coming from EU4. Like, I've played some Hearts of Iron, some Stellaris. I've never really played a lot of Victoria, actually. I don't know if it's interesting. It's interesting to me. I would love for them to announce a Victoria 3 just so I could dive into it. I think we are going to go after Ancona here. Oh, they grabbed Apulia. Where's Apulia? Do I care? Let's see. They have 5 cohorts in Ancona. They have 16 in Apulia and another 16 in... Oh. Look at you with your fancy allies. I mean, I think we could take them. What do you have? Well, hang on. Wait a minute. Let's flip this. Apulia, who are you allied with? Sapia and Ancona. Sapia has 20. How does this guy have 20 cohorts? Good grief. Lucania, who have you got? You've got 22 cohorts and 19 cohorts. All right, we're starting to get some big boys now. Who have you got? Umbria and Ancona. Oh, Umbria's nothing. This is our target right here. Okay, what's your tech level? You are at 0. That's not what you want to be. Well, I'm only at 111. It's not like I'm that much farther along. I have 11 heavy troops against his largely light infantry. A few chariots. How do the heavy troops do against chariots? 25 against chariots. 20 against light infantry. We should be able to take that, no problem. I think this is our next target. Slab Mason says, I played a bunch of Stellaris, but there wasn't enough diversity in combat ship sizes and strategy and such. And I've recently been getting my hours on EU4. This looks a lot like it, except it starts way earlier, and it seems more in control and way more in-depth to the country outlook. Yeah, it brings in a lot of Crusader Kings 2 elements, I think. It is far more like Europa Universalis 4 than it is Crusader Kings 2, but it brings in some of those personal character elements and individual government depth. You're still ultimately, I think the key difference between Crusader Kings 2 and Europa Universalis 4 is in EU4 you're playing as the country, whereas in Crusader Kings 2 you really are playing as the individual or family or whatever. This is still very much a country play game, but it has some I think it finds the right layers in terms of adding, populations into specific cities, adding a characters list that has traits and specific value scores for each person, adding more into the layer of having to do specific, interactions with specific people, particularly in a government where there are direct potentially rivals more are within your own government than without. So I think it's a good combination of the two. I like anybody who has access to this right now, we're relatively embargoed on having a lot of opinions on the quality and what we think of the game. But you can see that I'm not bringing up a lot of things I hate about it. Draw from that what you will. We're going to go to war with Sinonia here, I think. So they're going to bring in Umbria and Ancona. We've got all of our vassals. So we are... Oh, we don't have a Casus Belli anymore. Oh, interesting. All right, so we're going to have to grab a fabricate claim. Stellaris is a good game. I like Stellaris. Don't get me wrong. I think, I clearly have a much greater affection for EU4 than I do Stellaris, but there's a lot I still like about Stellaris. Can you give us a number of how many things you don't like? I tell you what, as I mention them, you will hear me say them in this voice, where it's like, oh, well, they do this in this game. And you probably haven't heard me say that a lot. Yeah. That is an in-joke. You do not have to listen to the in-jokes. Can we declare war yet? We can. So we're going to take Armenium. Araminum. We're going to take that. And we're going to see how we do. Okay, so we are at war with Umbria, Armenium, and Picenum, which is the least of my concerns. So I think we're going to push you here. I'll push you straight in and take that fight. We're going to swing you up over here and grab Umbria. And indeed, we should win this very handily. Oh, they have no morale. Oh, we might stack wipe them. Oh. Yeah, they don't have thousands of troops anymore. They have 0 of those. They have 0. Can you give us a rating of 1 to 10? If you can't you tell if it's closer to 10 than 1? They didn't pay for the army. I know, right? I felt bad for him. No, I can't do that. Because then, here's the thing. I like, I just, straight with you. I like getting these games early. I don't want to take anybody a Paradox off. They asked me not to make reviews until whenever. And, yep, I'm going to do that. I don't know. I think this is a great opportunity to kind of draw your own conclusions about what the game is. No numbers. Sorry. It's a totally fair question, but no numbers. Interesting. So they have a fort here in Ancon, which immediately exerts a zone of control around here. So even though they didn't have any troops that took that part of my territory, it is essentially seized down. Renovations. Gnaeus Flavius, in his civic capacity, informs us that an opportunity has arisen. One of our most valued temples is in dire need of renovation. With enough investment, the building could become a shining beacon of our benevolence and architectural prowess. Surely this opportunity is too great to miss. I don't need the popularity. No, there's no benefit there for me. Let's see. Supply limit, not a bad idea. Import routes is always good, but we're good on money. Tech investment, I'm tempted to do that. Do I care about aggressive expansion? I might actually care about aggressive. Let's do this. Ooh, national population growth, though. I want several of these, but I think I'm going to take aggressive expansion because we are moving quickly. Do they know how many hours you put into their games? Some of them do, yes. Some of them do indeed know that. All right, we just siege this stuff down. My vassal swarm can go beat up the actual units. They aren't fielding enough people to be a threat at this point. Are you guys all older gamers? Older? How dare you? No, of course I am. These games appeal to me. I play them once in a while, but they are like golf games that you play when you get older. And I'm getting older. I did finish Sekiro, but it was quite tough because my reflexes are slower than they used to be. You were speaking my language. I think that, yeah, I'm not fooling anybody, right? Like, the gray is there. It is real. I don't know if it's an age thing, though. I really, really don't. My brother, who is 15 years younger than me, he loves EU4 as well. So, I think, you know, a lot of us, particularly who run the site and run the channel and do the podcast, right? We're all advanced. worst word I've ever said in my life. I hated it. We got our sieges down. I think we'll probably swing over here and just make sure these guys don't come chasing into our territory. Maybe close them off up here in Umbria. Help reinforce and make sure we don't lose this siege at the last second. Is this mountains? It is hills. So we don't want to attack into that. The sacking of Urbinum. Publius Sempronius Sophus has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Urbinum. I'm going to put that I right there. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, the spoils of war are likely to cause those back in Rome to admire Publius greatly, but leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Because they haven't in the past? Let the looting be gentle. We can gain some money. He'd go up to 100 popularity. Let them roam freely. And we would kill 2 citizens. I don't want to kill citizens. We're about to make them our citizens. Or we could be cruel and kill a bunch of people. Nope. Take it nice and chill. No reason to be a jerk about it. We're gonna go kill this dude, I think. He has not a lot. Actually, you move here. You move here. He's still got a ton to go before his siege is done. And we're just gonna ruin his whole day. Oof, he's losing like 1,000 at a time. That's about how I thought that go. We lost 635. He lost 4,500. And he's trapped. He can't go back to his own place. We're going to wipe... After we talk about olives. Our men in Kamsa woke to find large, massive olives, unlike any ever seen before. The local priest declared a blessing of Minerva. Some say it is even a show of preference to the rest of the world. Our augur, Pomponius Sulpicius Severio, suggests building a small shrine to celebrate the goddess, to thank her for the gifts she has given us. We could gain 100 religious power. We have the money to spend on it. And omen power for 10 years. And research points coming out of Kamsa. Where's Kamsa? It's almost certainly what we're going to do, but... Yeah, we have citizens there. Are they... Yep, they're all... Well, they're all civilian. Do we not have... cultural assimilation? Yeah. Where's all my Roman culture dudes? Oh, no, they are Roman. They're just... No, they're not. Interesting. I still gotta do it. All right. We're going to take that last bit. Wild accusations. Despite the long record of public service held by our consul, Publius Sempronius Sophus, a vile accusation of election fraud has been leveled against... Publius Sempronius Sophus? Election fraud? That paragon of virtue? How dare you, sir? The perpetrator of this vile slander is none other than Lucius, this dude, mastermind of the mercantile faction. How should we respond to this outrage? Yeah, probably this. It'll be under scrutiny. Well, maybe not that. I don't want to lose money. I don't want tyranny. Fine. Hopefully we'll have an election soon. Did you set a particular goal for yourself? No, I did not, Sway. Not embarrass myself. And so we have clearly failed at that. And we're just making it as we go along now. Yeah, no, I just wanted to see. I'll probably do another 20 minutes here or so. And we'll just see how far we can take Rome in that time. Base metals from Tuscia. Base metals provide us cohort recruiting speed, so I'm fine getting a little bonus infantry offense instead. And we can take an invention. What did I want next? Yeah, because we're good on... Well, it would be better to take civic tech investments now. Our civic tech is growing fine. Take the population growth. Oh, the manpower change. Oh yeah, it did go up quite a bit. Thank you for the reminder. Good call. So it was what, like 8? It was like 10,000 less than that, roughly. So those, and we haven't taken any new cities or provinces since then. So those training camps did some work. They did some work. How is our research efficiency? It's good. We have output of 1,002 against a population of 866. We should look to grow more citizens. What is our economy? Have we shifted? Have we reached the balance yet? No, but we're close. So ultimately what we want to do is have our commerce income be greater than our tax income. That will shift our... It will shift our economy from a slave-based economy to a citizen-based economy. Doesn't mean we won't have slaves, but it will kind of shift that balance of power so that as we are now growing research points, because citizens grow both research points plus commerce, it just provides, I think, a much longer-lasting degree of stability. Nobody misses the Etruscan sway. The Etruscans are fine. Look at them. Thriving here, and then completely in a different part of unconnected territory here. It's nothing to miss. Etruria is a place that still exists. What are the downsides to slavery in this game? Well, the downsides aren't... So it's not that sort of segment in time. It's not really kind of passing that judgment on slavery yet. The downside is more that it's just not as efficient as other options. So, right, base tax is good, but slaves don't provide much additional value beyond that, as opposed to freemen and citizens, which have sort of an additional value, sort of additive value around them. I don't know. Slaves react better to tyranny. So if you become tyrannical and kind of imperial, which we did for a while, you are kind of setting the stage for a more slave-based economy, because citizens and slaves sort of work in opposition to each other. So there's this sort of underlying current of the more you become a slave-based economy, one, the more sort of tyrannical and imperial you are, but also the less educated, I'll use that term, because becoming sort of imperial and dictatorial and stuff like that means you have to rely more and more on your slaves, which will create a huge sort of wealth pool that you can just sort of throw resources at. But you won't be able to invest in much as citizens, because citizens react negatively to dictatorial regimes and make that much, much harder. So your research actually suffers. I think in the long run, it's more about how you organize your government type and which direction you kind of shift that sets the stage for which of those things you're going to need to lean towards more. Because it's going to be very, very hard to have a citizen-based economy that's highly commercial and also research-driven, but is also highly dictatorial and imperial at the same time. Those are going to be in conflict with each other and sort of spark a civil war. It's a cool balance that I haven't fully explored yet. When you conquer countries, do you enslave them? No. So this is a great opportunity to kind of look at that. So we will take a look at a couple of these here, like Ariminum has 4 citizens, 3 freemen, and 7 tribespeople. Now, every time we have taken one of these sieges, there is a degree of possibility we will enslave part of that population. That's already happened at this point. And so, for example, when we took, what is this city? Urbinum. I don't remember, but we might have seen a thing that says 1 population was killed, 2 populations were enslaved and sent to Rome and Saturnia or something like that. But once we take this population, so we'll see here, Ariminum is 4, 3, and 7 with 0 slaves. So let's end the war and see what happens, because that's a good question. Well, we can't take that particular thing because we haven't sieged down its capital yet. And I do want to siege that down, don't I? Yeah, it's only for aggressive expansion. So we'll look at that again in a second. My thinking is that this will actually stay the same. These citizens will remain citizens. They will be, you can see in previous, like the Etruscans here, they will retain their culture until we convert them. If we choose to convert them, we can forcefully convert them as well, though they are already Hellenic. And they'll just sort of shift over time. But it's not like the idea was when the Romans came charging through, they took the middle class and suddenly turned them all into slaves, right? The whole point was to integrate the social structure that existed within Roman society. I think this game's trying to replicate that. The city of Cinicium has been often overlooked by the wealthy patrons of our capital. Today, however, Aulus Virginius has offered to spend a sizable quantity of his wealth on constructing another grand temple. Yeah, I like it this time. What Sean isn't telling you is that without the Etruscans, there is no Latin alphabet. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. All I know... Hang on, let me just check my globe and look for the country of Etrusca. Seeing it. I feel like the map should have an element of here there be dragons. How much did Rome really know about England 463 BC? I think that's entirely fair. I think that is a gameplay decision element. Oh! Oh no! Oh, hey guys, remember another thing that happened around this time? A large rumbling sound is the only warning our people received before Vesuvius erupts, spouting large amounts of ash and lava all across Neapolis and the nearby provinces. Most of those living in the area have little to no time to prepare themselves for the danger, and there's a large number of casualties and destructions across the area. Hey, Karnak? You could have given me a heads up. Just saying, you could have mentioned Neapolis gets entirely buried. It's not funny. Neapolis gets entirely buried by the volcanic ash and lava from Vesuvius, leaving the area almost uninhabitable. Some people have started wondering if this is some sort of punishment sent by the gods if we have offended or insulted them in one way or another. Up to 80% of the population in Neapolis is killed by the volcanic eruption. It gets buried until the end of game. Yeah. So 4623. You know, we got some nice training camps here. Some income. Yeah. Okay. Vesuvius, you guys. It was Vesuvius. All right, now we can look at Ariminum 437. So we will take a bunch of money and gain 6 aggressive expansion. I think we're fine. Popularity? Nope. Drop that aggressive expansion. All right, so we are at peace. Let's let a month finish off here, and then we'll take a look at where Ariminum is. Ariminum. Okay, look here. All right. Hey, Ariminum, right? Which is it? So, is it Ariminium or Ariminum? This feels different, doesn't it? What was it before? It wasn't 1472. feel like there was 3 here. Am I remembering that? We get a lot of what we know is complete and utter bollocks about medicine from Pliny the Elder. Well, I have listened to my Sawbones podcast, so I know that. He died while trying to observe the eruption from the sea. That is a way that you could certainly die, I suppose. Yeah. Trade route. Ooh, can I grab grain? Probably better to grab the livestock. It's about, like, pretty even, actually. Vegetables, leather. Surplus in capital of grain gives us manpower too. We should grab that so we have the surplus. That'll give us the manpower, and our manpower is dropping. So we're up to 108k manpower, but that's our maximum, and we need to stop taking random pointless attrition as well. Did I not? Yeah, Neapolis. I bet you are. It's a bad day down there. Hey, Ice Nuggets, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, take it easy. I really appreciate you coming in. Hope you enjoyed the stream. It was great having you. Okay, we need to get these guys out of this attrition. Why are they... The supply limit is 21? Wait, the Legion is 22. Oh, right, because they're heavy infantry. I bet that's it. So let's pull them down here. Nope, I do not want to give that oratory tech up. All right, let's take a look at where we're at here. So we are integrating Polignia. Marcia is... Saria. We're at 159. We have improved opinion by 99. We can send a gift. That will get us... close. Publius has gained uncaring. How can that possibly be a surprise? He is dictator for life, essentially. That did not get us there. 159, I swear to God, it almost like it went down. Bellicose stance. No, mercantile stance. There we go. I am sure I never changed from a bellicose stance. That was dumb. Can now also integrate Marcia as well. Excellent. So we'll start integration on May 31st, and then we'll grab our new invention. Yeah, Pompey is starving now. That's nothing to do about that. Okay, we are now integrating our feudatory states. Right, are we integrating this one? Tribal Chief Agrippa offers friendship. He is from Polignia. Sure. Except we're already integrating Polignia. I don't really care. We've received an envoy by Tribal Chief Agrippa Clolius, ruler of our subject Polignia. He offers our ruler Consul Publius Sempronius Sophus his personal friendship. Sure. Hey! Whoa! Well, welcome literally everyone that watches right now. Appreciate you all stopping by. Wow, you look away from chat for a second, and suddenly there's a huge raid. You're supposed to destroy Rome, not join it. Well, welcome to the stream, because that's not what we're doing. To catch everybody up, we have been playing as Rome. We inadvertently, but not regretfully, created a huge dictatorship at the very beginning of the game. And our consul, who's 63 years old, has been Publius? Consul? Since the beginning of the game. Conflict of the orders. In spite of the rights granted to plebeians since the last secession of 411, tension between the patrician and plebeian classes of Rome has been growing lately, partly influenced by the work of Gnaeus Flavius, among others. None of our concessions have dampened the plebeians' determination to secure political and legal equality. However, a new political class made up of both patricians and plebeians has been growing, incorporating the middle-income families of the Republic. We must decide whether to promote the expansion of this new nobilitas as a middle ground or give in to the populist demands. We need the manpower. I mean, I've been saying forever we need the manpower. Freeman happiness, I'm not that worried about. I do like the promotion cost. I'm really interested in getting, like, spending some time pushing Freemans into positions as citizens. And their unrest is fine. Cool. Let's grab our invention first. I want to grab a tech investment. We are close to our next batch of technologies. In fact, we're going to grab our oratory one in a second here. Wine from Arminium. We have a province loyalty problem in Arminium that we need to resolve. Are any of this providing... Yeah, happiness is good, so I do not want to give up wine. And this is wine. No wine. No wine. Nobody gets wine. Wine is ours. We need to solve this problem, though. 56, the popularity loyalty is capital region. The consul is making some input there. Order 66. I think we want to begin to assimilate some of this group. What is the center of this region? 24, 35, 32. I am going to assimilate some of these populations. Increases our corruption, which I don't love, though. And we're keeping the oratory investments. We may just have to kind of keep an eye on that. We may get some revolts up here, but hopefully that will stabilize relatively quickly. Thank you, Karnak. If you're going to say Order 66, please say it in Roman numerals. By the way, hello everybody joining. My name's Sean Sands. I'm playing Imperator. Like, you get it. Like, this isn't... It's not like this is a big secret. It's not your first day on Twitch, I'm assuming. We want to get this guy over here. Nope, that's not enough. Bring him to 20. I think I want to... All right, Karnak. I think I want to wipe out the Etruscans. I think I do want to do that. We have a truce with them till 466. So we have 1 year. But I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. Loyalty's a good idea. Omen duration's better. Imports is also good. Come to you in a second. That omen duration is good. We're about to have to get the next round of it. A martial demand. A group of senators who align themselves to the military faction have asked Quintus Fabius Rullianus to represent their interests, claiming that they are becoming increasingly displeased with the direction our great nation is taking. They have issued an ultimatum. They are demanding that we address the dreadful state of the senatorial guard who are often in attendance at important debates. Okay, we can randomly lose 300 gold. I'm not changing laws. This is fine. That said... Let's talk about forts for a second. Where's my fort map mode? I like those. We do not need 2 forts right here. That is not ours yet. Okay, good. I'm going to spend some of this money that I've been accumulating. And this is my horse group. What do I want to spend it on? Manpower's good. Bringing in 6 gold a month. I think we can do better. I want to do growth through this region. Good. Drop a volcano on him. I've already done that, Sway. I didn't mean to. Look, I didn't mean to blow up Vesuvius, okay? I said I was sorry. I did not mean to do that. That was an accident. I'm not even sure it was my fault. I was just sitting here, drinking gin, attacking coasts. Vesuvius was completely out of my range. Nope, wine. I don't want to trade wine. I want to keep wine. All right. We need to move south soon too, but how did Lucania get 29 cohorts and 3 allies? Apulia has 15, and they're allied with them, and these guys still have 17. So there's definitely some effort in the south to kind of blockade against us. I think northern expansion still makes the most sense. Carthage hasn't been making much of a move, right? It's been focusing all of its attention on sort of Algeria. Hasn't even moved into Iberia very much, right? We got that request early. Yeah, Mastia is still there. So whatever approach they were taking through Mastia, Carthage is making a little push. But they have not taken Sicily. They haven't moved off of Sardinia. Like Etruria still holds Corsica. Wait, Etruria, who are they allied with? Agonia. Okay, no, they aren't. I was wondering if they were allied with Carthage for a second, but no, they've just got these tiny little friends on the Mediterranean coast. I think it has to be manpower again. I think we need more manpower. Karnak, oh yeah, I forgot to mention Sean, episodes 3 and 4 Travers were pure gold. Had me all misty-eyed. Thank you, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, by the way, hi everybody who's saying hi. It's nice of you all to drop by. If you have any questions or anything you're looking for, let me know. Inventions. Morale recovery is good. Primary culture. I would like secondary culture benefits. Slave output would give us a boost to income. I'm not sure we need that. Why are we down to 4? Wrong culture happiness. That's exactly what I want. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Does that help our... It's stabilizing. It still changes by -0.2. Let's see if at the end of the month that goes up a little bit. Our biggest problem is... Nope, we're not exporting livestock. Sinagalika, Ravina, Faventa. Alright, Ravina and Faventa. Let's start there. So our problem is, I'm assuming... Corruption's at 10. Local unrest. Maybe we get rid of the local unrest here. 5.84. Cultural assimilation isn't helping. Unhappy populations isn't helping. Oh, they're non-Hellenic. Oh. Oh. Well, there's your problem. They're Lepontic. Okay, so the primary concern here is, that's why all these are having such trouble. So they are Lepontic. They're not from the Hellenic culture group. So doing culture assimilations helps, but every culture assimilation is growing corruption by 2.5%, which is crazy. So we have to keep this governor policy. I think over time, even though it's creating a 1% unrest negative, it's ultimately going to be a positive because we have a 25. So every 4 months, give or take, we are converting one of these Lepontic to a Hellenic culture. Druidic's also a problem. And our conversion efforts run into the same issue. We have a ton of oratory power, and really not much we can do with it right now. I don't think. X-Alfie, your voice is just soothing. I've heard that before. I'm grateful. I have these. Here's who I am. Like at night, I have trouble getting to sleep. Just, you know, mind kind of goes, and like I start watching my iPad, and like the later it gets, like the more I'll shift into just like somebody who has a super soothing voice, and just like I will be lulled to sleep by the most, like, I was watching an Astroneer stream the other night, but the person doing the stream just had this like lullaby voice, and it was just out. So good. I'm glad you find it soothing. Yeah, glad you find it soothing. I know the feeling. So we need to be focused on, in the short term, which is a bigger malice for us. Is it a bigger problem that, yeah, the culture group is providing a minus 30%, and the religion's only providing a minus 5%. So this is the right governor policy. We absolutely have to get more of these converted to a Roman base. Exterminate. I mean, culturally convert. Expansion of the tribes. Since Romulus founded our great city, its citizens have been divided into tribes. Originally, it was an ethnic distinction, but since the Republic was formed, the tribes have been divisions of eligible citizens whose local consensus is submitted as a vote in the tribal assembly in Rome. The number of tribes has fluctuated throughout our history, beginning with merely 3. There are now over 30, added or redrawn as our state has grown. New tribes are formed as our citizen population rises to better represent the opinions of the whole republic. There have been lately calls to create 2 more tribes to be named Aeneas, that one, and Tarentina, to ensure votes are fairly distributed. So we could gain expansion of the tribes, which would increase provincial loyalty, which I'm inclined to do. Plus Rome gets population growth. Well, we can't take the culture group happiness malice. We absolutely have to do that. Absolutely, yeah. And thanks everybody who is following the stream. Really appreciate it. It's really, really, absolutely appreciate it. Great to have you here. Can I kill the Etruscans yet? Asking for a friend? I can't kill the Etruscans. All right, everyone. Love having the new people here. I am nearly out of gen, and that is an absolute requirement to kill the Etruscans. I need like 3 minutes to, you know, do the things you do in between save states. So I will be right back, and we will go to war one last time with the Etruscans, probably another 20 or 30 minutes in the stream, and we'll wrap it up. And yeah, so hang around. Hope you're enjoying it, and I will be right back. When we started tonight, we always knew it was going to come to this, didn't we? I think we did. I think we knew we were going to have to wipe out the Etruscans. So, to do that, first of all, we're going to need a slightly larger navy. So we're going to build numerous triremes so that we can send our armies over and take over Alalia? Corsica. It's Corsica. Karnak, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Karnak. I know. Look, I know. Kill the Etruscans. Look, this isn't, it seems bad, but what I want to do is just bring them in. I want to bring them, I want to take all the Etruscans, I want to give them all hugs, and I want to bring them into the culture of Rome, right? Look, we have so many of their fellow Etruscans here in Tuscia, and of course Etruria. This is all about, this is an act of good. That's a lie. Wine, no. Wine, no. March of Time. Oh, wow. Oh, Sempronius Sophus, you have to stay with us at this point. You're 66 years old. You have been dictator for life. Your ambition was be appointed dictator. We did that. You remember when we did that together? You want to do it again? Yes, I'm going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it. I am definitely going to appoint him dictator again. Absolutely. He has diphtheria, so it won't be long. His health is bad. Let's see. We gotta start this war. He deserves this war. Siege engineers, fort defense, military tradition. Slave output might be good. Loyalty is probably a requirement here. We have 8 boats. Is that enough? I think it is. I think we can go ahead and take these. All right, so what do we have? Oh, we need to make a plan. And I think we'll make it for Picé. That way we can definitely take it. I don't know if it'll be tricky to do a naval landing here on Corsica, but I don't want to. I want to assume that we can get there. Let's move everybody into position. Karnak Etruscans were well-known pirates. The Greek called them the Tyrrhenians, and the sea between Italy and Sardinia and Corsica is named for them. I did not know that. Karnak is our resident history expert and has demonstrated that title time and again. All right. So they are going to bring in Iguania, Phrynicia, and Genoa, essentially. We still have 2 of... Did we integrate one of them? Yeah, we integrated... Yeah, we integrated... Oh, God, what was their name? I don't even remember. We integrated one. So we still have 3 of our original 4 vassals. This should be... Okay, let's make sure... So they have 12 cohorts, 12 cohorts, 11 cohorts, 12 cohorts. So we're talking about 47 cohorts. We start with a base of more than that. Yeah, we're fine. Plus our vassals, plus our 25k manpower. All right, we are going to take it. Okay, let's set this to naval landing, and let's set you to make a crossing. Push you up here. Can we get all the way through? Right, we're fighting Picé. I think we're running Genoa. Don't take over 4,000 dudes as your first landing. Can't trust the AI to do anything. Does any of this provide... Oh, that provides local manpower. Any of this provide... Experience, cohort speed, fort defense, supply limit. No. We have a surplus of grain. We have fish. We do not have livestock. We have horses. I don't mind that manpower bonus. We're already producing it, though. So surplus and capital would provide, like, cavalry discipline. We're sending over some cavalry. We'll do horses. That seems like okay. All right, let's see where this boat ends up. Because you still have to bring over the rest of the Legion. Oh, yeah, he's still loading up. Okay, good, 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 good. Enemy captured. Got 11k troops here. All right. Nobody's in our landing zone. We should... They have got 9k. And we've already brought more in. How many do we have here? So let's group them up. What's our commander here? Oh, Publius. Is that enough? 9,000. We've already got 11,000. Bring another 4,000 in. We're fine. Or at least I feel good about it initially. So we want to take those as soon as we possibly can. Our vassals are beginning to move north. It does look like they're going to push in. Yeah, we're going to have to swing way around to get there in time. All right, we have 6 heavies, 5 light cav, 4 archers in a deception stance. They're bringing in a greater amount, but they're all light. Yeah, they're all light infantry. I think we still take that. Not doing one. I am. So we have a better general and better quality. They have a stronger army. The province is plain, so they won't get any bonus. And we are a long way from having... Wow. Okay, no, that's fine. Let's see. It's not as confident now because they're bringing 21,000 in. That's much bigger. I think we bring Tullus Cornelius Barbatus in. He has better martial, and he has better siege ability anyway. And that puts things into a different perspective. All right, let's slow time down. So they have a lot more dudes. We are winning the core of the fight, but we are taking heavy losses, as are they. They have double the dudes. Oh, where did this 10,000 stack come from? Okay, you know what? We're gonna have to stop for a second. I'm not gonna. Not just gonna continue to lose guys. Rather swing down here and then come back around for them. 13.5. Bring you. This is where the fort is. Yeah. Group you guys up. Yeah, this is still worth it. We're gonna let attachments regroup onto us. We still have a lot more guys coming in, so this should be okay. Yeah, there we go. Who died? He's been waiting. This poor guy has been waiting as a candidate the entire game. Let's see. Put you in charge. I think we can swing down here. His morale is beginning to come back. Oh no, hold that. They want to come over here. We will reinforce that if they commit. Come on. I think we got this. As long as he gets there in time. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring our boats over to blockading. Actually, let's just tell them to come over here. I think we have... We're going to use up a large portion of our manpower, though. Let's let our... Let our vassals do some of the heavy lifting for a bit. We've got the blockade going. Has he moved everybody off the coast? Oh, there he is. All right, I was wondering where he went. Okay. Our vassals are going to do a bit of the work now. How do I feel about the UI? I think it is... I don't have any problems with it. I'll need to get used to it. I don't have a strong feeling about it one way or the other yet. Once I am in a position where I feel like I am consistently... I feel like now that I've kind of learned where everything is, I can quickly get back to it, and that is the core of what a UI does. I mean, that's not the core. It works. I think there's room for, like with any Paradox game, I think Paradox puts something out that is really at this kind of foundational level, a solid starting point with the expectation. Like you look at Stellaris. Look at what Stellaris did with its planet UI, just in this last kind of major patch that they did 3 or 4 months ago, where they completely reinvented that. I think that's sort of the core of the Paradox ethos, is to get something out into people's hands that is very, very effective at providing all that information in an efficient way, but a way that still has room for improvement. And I think that's where we're at right now. I think if you look at this game in 2 years, you'll see some notable UI changes and developments, and probably even some sort of core base game developments. And I'm fine with that. I feel like that has been a really successful model for them to date, and siege engineers, I like that. I think that's the expectation I come into this game with, is that this is not the permanent UI, but it's one that really effectively gets the job done at this stage of the game. One thing about Paradox, they do consistently improve their games. Yeah, that's totally my feeling on it. All right, our vassal has arrived and is getting work done. We are doing okay. We're going to wait and let our manpower continue to recover, let our vassals do some of the early heavy lifting here, though our second legion, led by Marcus Fulvius Curvus, is... we're actually going to put our other guy in charge here. This guy. Oh, no, can't change that to 469. Well, that's fine. I don't think it's a huge deal. We're making progress on this siege. I don't think they'll be able to dislodge us from that. I think this is our, right? This is our consul. He's doing work. And I think we can speed up time a bit again. Secession of the plebes. The political debate of the patricians and the plebeians has once again escalated into a full-blown secession. It seems promoting the new middle class while satisfying some of the wealthy plebeians and encouraging social mobility only ostracized the rest of the population further. The city has ground to a halt with thousands of freemen leaving the city to occupy the hills of Janiculum along the Tiber. Their leaders are demanding legal and political equality to end the strike. So we could either institute the Lex Hortensia, reduced unrest, increase freeman happiness, We would be a patricio-plebeian aristocracy until the end of the game, which increases manpower, reduces freeman happiness, and freeman promotion cost goes down by 15%. Or they are outside the pomerium. Let us teach them a lesson. A patricio-plebeian aristocracy. Right now, we are... What are we? Aristocratic Republic. That gives us... Can I afford the freeman happiness minus 15% and the national unrest until 518? Ooh, 50 years. Yikes. Well, okay. So Kamikaze asked the question, why would you do the second option ever? It is all negative. If you were really committed to the aristocratic republic, this is going to change inevitably. I don't know how the, so I probably will do this one because I do not know what the impact of how a patricio-plebeian aristocracy is run. Does that change the length of time that somebody can be consul? Does that change their options for what they can do? Does that change our national ideas? I honestly don't know. I think it is what I will do. It'll be interesting to see what, if anything, that changes. So that's it? Like we're still an aristocratic republic. It doesn't actually change our... I was expecting a bigger impact than that. Our consul has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Alalia. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is decide how to treat the residents within. We will just do this because I do not want a bunch of citizens to be killed. Good. And that will claim all those territories, so we can swing here to the north. This is unclaimed territory, which is how he's sort of hiding in the background, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Yeah, it's a, yeah, you're absolutely right, Mudkips. It's not a government form, just a modifier. My mistake. I thought it was a government form. Hey, we got in a fight. I think we're okay. This is mountains, though, isn't it? Gotta keep an eye on this. It's hills? It's a -1, so it must be hills. We're fine. Where's he going to retreat to is the question. He is going to... Can we just intercept him there? Well, he's got very low morale. No, he's still going. There's he going. We should stack wipe him. Done. Cool. Oh. I think we'll beat that guy. A gift horse. We have long been warned to be suspicious of gifts, especially in the current political climate. However, an interesting proposition has been made. Oratory power. Oh no, I don't want to take that loyalty hit. I'm fine with that. All right. The Etruscans are evaporating under my vassal swarm, which I approve. Virginius is dead, which means we now have an opening here. We will bring young Paulus Flavius into the mix. Not a particularly important position. We will prepare to ship our consul back to the mainland. Oh. Plebs will remember that kind of situation. Exactly. I love that. It's very good. That is exactly what it was like. Could not describe it better myself. Let's go ahead and kill this guy off. I don't like the way he's looking at us. Oh, I can't because it's in the zone of control of Visal. Let's move you back over. Oh yeah, you got to be set on naval landing. Nope, nope. There we go. Fort defense, military tradition costs is what I want. Can we put a better person in here? Yeah, we have younger people now who are good at this. Praised be the sun. Yeah. Can we do it yet? Karnak, look away. Look away. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see this. Look away. Just gonna make sure we got them all. Yeah, we got them all. Aleria, the capital of Corsica. As the largest city in the province of Corsica, Aleria plays an essential role in controlling the area by introducing their population to Roman culture and assimilating some of them with our own ways. We would turn them to our cause and make sure the province will stay loyal as we continue our expansion in the future. We can lose 100 civic power and turn 20% of Aleria into Romans, which we absolutely do. Okay, this is interesting. Find out how this works in situations like this. Will this go to minus 75? Good. It actually, I agree with that. I think it absolutely should. I don't need popularity. This is a very popular dictator, so we'll reduce some of the aggressive expansion. And Rome has conquered central Italy, removed the hated Etruscans, and now finds itself poised against its true enemy, Carthage. I want to thank all of you who joined in. Been going for about 3 hours now. I think this is as good a place to take a break as any. We are poised to go plunging into the heart of Europe and start taking on some of the barbarians and tribes that take up Gaul and will be the future Venice and Genoa and Milan and Austria of the world. But our real threat is to take the remainder of central Italy, the remainder of southern Italy, and then turn our eye to Carthage. The Etruscans are the Italian Canadians. I have no comment on that. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you do, please leave us a follow. Drop by. We have a lot of different games we cover. I plan on doing a ton more Imperator. I know I don't think Corey's around tomorrow to continue his Dishonored 2 campaign, but I know he's got plans to bring that back as well. Feel free to give us a follow. Feel free to stop by. And I hope you enjoyed the stream. If so, I'll see you again next time. Have a good night, everybody.